Students, I welcome you all for today's session. Well, students, in the last session, we did the chapter number 8, that is, a house is not a home, and I hope you understood that chapter. And today, we are going to be picking up your last chapter from your Moments book, page 72. So, be ready with your book of moment so that we can start off with the chapter. So, students, your chapter number 9, that is the accidental tourist, that is omitted, or that is cancelled, okay, deleted chapter. So, that's why we are doing chapter 10, the last chapter. Now, students, your chapter is going to be explained in 2 videos as it's a lengthy chapter. So, this is video 1, okay. And so now I hope you all are ready with page number 62. So as you can see, it's chapter number 10, the last chapter, and the name of the chapter is The Beggar. So it's a story about a character who is the beggar, and what happens and how he tricks people, okay, and what happens in the end to him. So what induced the beggar Lushkov to change his ways? Let's read and find out. What induced means what forced him to change and become from a beggar to a different person. Okay, so yes, page 62. Kind sir, have pity. Turn your attention to a poor hungry man. For 3 days I have had nothing to eat. I haven't 5 kopecks for a lodging. This means 5 kopecks here, students. This means that I don't even have five. This is the currency. So he says I don't even have 5 rupees or 5 notes. For lodging here means for staying somewhere, for accommodation. I swear it before God. For 8 years I was a village school teacher, and then I lost my place there through intrigues. So intrigues here means that someone was trying to change my someone was trying to make my image bad. So someone said gossiped something wrong about me. So intrigues means, yes, someone tried to play a politics on me, and that is how I lost my job as a school teacher. I fell a victim to calumny. Calumny here means to a cheating or to a deceit. It is a year now since I have had anything to do. So this is what the beggar was walking on the streets, and he was telling the people that he did not have any place to live. He didn't even have any money to buy accommodation or stay somewhere. And for 8 years he had taught in a school, but he lost his job just because someone cheated him. And now it's been a year that he has not been able to do anything, and he's on roads. The advocate Sergi looked at the ragged, fawn colored overcoat of the suppliant. Suppliant means the beggar. At his dull, drunken eyes and red spot on either cheek, and it seemed to him as if he had seen this man somewhere before. I have now had an offer of a position in the province of Kaluga. The mendicant went on. Mendicant here is referring to the beggar, okay? But I haven't the money to go there. Help me kindly. I am ashamed to ask, but I am obliged by the circumstances. So now the beggar had a different story. He said, I have got a job, but I don't have that much money to reach there. So please help me, support me with money so that I can go and start my job there. Sergi's eyes fell on the man's overshoes, one of which was high and the other low, and he suddenly remembered something. Look here, it seems to me I met you the day before yesterday at Sadovia Street, he said. But you told me then that you were a student who had been expelled and not a village school teacher. Do you remember? So now Sergi, all of a sudden, thought about the thought came to his mind that he had seen this man somewhere, the beggar. So the situation is such that the beggar has come to Sergi's house and he's begging for money. And Sergi says, well, I saw you that day, and that day you were mentioning on the street of Sedovia that you were a student and you were expelled. You were thrown out of the college or the school, and not a school teacher. Do you remember? No, no, that can't be so, mumbled the beggar, taken aback. I am a village school teacher, and if you like, I can show you my papers. So here the beggar says, well, the beggar was a little scared because he knew it was him, but he's trying to talk lie to Sergi. And he says, no, no, sir, I can show you my papers if you wish to. Have done with lying. You called yourself a student and even told me what you had been expelled for. Don't you remember? Sergi flushed and turned from the ragged creature with an expression of disgust. So now Sergi was he was trying to tell the beggar that I know you have also told me the reason, but you're trying to talk lie with me now. This is dishonesty, my dear sir, he cried angrily. This is swindling. I shall send the police for you. Swindling means cheating, okay? And so Sergi says, well, this is dishonest. You're trying to be dishonest with me. You're trying to cheat me, trying to lie to me, and I'm going to call the police. Sir, he said, laying his hand on his heart, the fact is, I was lying. I am neither a student nor a school teacher. All that was fiction. Formerly, I sang in a Russian corps and was sent away for drunkenness. So finally, when Sergi said that I'm going to call the police, so then the beggar got scared and he tells Sergi that yes, I'm sorry, I was lying and I wanted to get money, but yes, I'll tell you the truth. I was a singer at the Russian choir. Russian choir here means students, the group or the band, okay? And he says I was thrown out because I was a drunk. I used to drink a lot. But what else can I do? I can't get along without lying. No one will give me anything when I tell the truth. What can I do? What can you do? You ask what you can do, cried Sergi, coming close to him. Work, that's what you can do. You must work. Work, yes, I know that myself, but where can I find work? How would you like to chop wood for me? So Sergi is telling the beggar that yes, you're asking, you think that you cannot do anything. You can do, you can work. And Sergi says, well, if you want, you can work for me, you can chop woods for me. I wouldn't refuse to do that, but in these days, even skilled woodcutters find themselves sitting without bread. So, yes, so the beggar says, well, sure, I would like to do it, but these days there's no work for the woodmen also, for the woodcutters also. Will you come and chop wood for me? So Sergi says, okay, come and chop wood for me. Yes, sir, I will. Very well. We'll soon find out. Sergi hastened along, rubbing his hands. He called his cook out of the kitchen. Here, Olga, he said, take this gentleman into the woodshed and let him chop wood. So now there's the third character. So far we have three characters. We started with the beggar, and Sergi is the person whose house the beggar had come to, and now the third character is Olga. So Olga is the cook, and Sergi calls Olga and tells her that yes, please take this person to the woodshed, the beggar to the woodshed, and let him chop woods for us. The scarecrow of the beggar shrugged shrugged his shoulders, as if in perplexity. Perplexity means in confusion, and went in irresolutely after the cook. Irresolutely means in a very confused, again, without questioning, or just like a, I would say, in a very weak way, he went after the cook. It was obvious from his gait means from his appearance, that he had not consented to go and chop wood, but because he was hungry and wanted work, but simply from the pride and shame, and because he had been trapped by his own words. So actually what happened is that the beggar did not know how to chop woods, and he had got trapped in his own words because he agreed that yes, I will chop the woods for you. So out of that shame, he could not say anything, he could not lie again. So he went behind Olga and he said, okay, I'm ready to chop the woods. It was obvious too that his strength had been undermined by vodka, and that he was unhealthy and did not feel slightest inclination for toil. So yes, and that day when the beggar came to Sergi's house, he was drunk, okay, and he was not fit enough, and slightest inclination This means that yes, he did not have inclination, means he had lack of interest. He did not have interest at all for the toil, means for the hard work. Okay. Sergi hurried into the dining room. From its window, one could see the woodshed and everything that went on in the yard. So Sergi was looking from the dining room window and he could see what was going on in the woodshed. Standing at the window, Sergi saw all the cook and the beggar come out into the yard by the back door and make their way across the dirty snow to the shed. Olga glared wrathfully. Wrathfully means in a hatred way, okay, in an angry way, at her companion, shoved him aside with her elbow, unlocked the shed, and angrily banged the door. So Olga also did not like the beggar. Okay, so she pushed him aside. She opened the door, and with an angry face, she banged the door open. Okay, now students, moving on to page 64. So, yes, next he saw the pseudo teacher seat himself on a log and become lost in thought with his red cheek resting on his fists. So, this is Olga is describing the beggar to be the pseudo teacher. Because why pseudo teacher? Because he was in a very confused manner, and he did not do anything. He went and simply sat at one side, and he put his cheeks on his fist, and he started watching Olga. The women flung down an axe at his feet, spat angrily, and judging from the expression of her lips, began to scold him. So this is now Olga felt very irritated at looking at the beggar sit down and not chop the woods. So because of her anger, she threw an axe towards his feet, and then she spat angrily means गुस्से से, बहुत ज़ोर से गुस्से से बोली. Judging, and now the beggar could judge that yes, Olga was angry and she was trying to scold him. The beggar irresolutely pulled a billet of wood toward him, set it up between his feet, and tapped it feebly with an axe. So when the beggar knew that yes, the lady was being very rude and she was trying to scold him. So finally he had to get up. So he got up unwillingly. Irresolutely again means unwillingly. So he got up, and then he brought a wood between his feet, and he started hitting it with the axe to chop it. The billet wavered. The billet here means yes, the wood log. Wavered means it shook and it fell down because he did not hit it properly. The beggar again pulled it to him, blew on his freezing hands, and tapped it with his axe cautiously, as if afraid of hitting his overshoe or of cutting off his finger. The stick of wood again fell to the ground. So he tried. Now the beggar said that yes, I can chop woods. मुझे wood काटनी आती है, chop करनी आती है. But जब उसके ओल्गा के सामने उसने 2 बार ये करके दिखाया, he could not do it. Probably yes, because he was under the influence of alcohol. Second is reason, what we can guess is that he did not actually know how to do it. Sergi's anger had vanished, and now he began to feel a little sorry and ashamed of himself for having set a spoiled, drunken, perhaps sick man to work at menial labor in cold. So now Sergi had become angry, and now his anger had gone. एंड अब सर्जी सोच रहा है कि यस, उसको थोड़ा पछतावा हो रहा है कि मैंने सही नहीं किया, बिकॉज आई सेंड दैट ओल्ड मैन, द ड्रंकन मैन देयर, to do such a hard work in such a cold winter day. An hour later, Olga came in and announced that the wood had all been chopped. Good, give him half a ruble, said Sergi. So Olga came after half an hour and she said that yes, the wood had been chopped. So Sergi was happy and he says, okay, give him half a ruble. If he wants to, he can come back and cut the wood on the first day of each month. We can always find work for him. On the first day of the month, the waif made his appearance. Waif here means the beggar, and again earned half a ruble. although he could barely stand on his legs. From that day on, he often appeared in the yard. So, what is actually happening is, students, I hope you are able to follow the chapter till here. So, Olga, after that, Sergey becomes a little happy from the beggar, and he tells Olga that yes, tell him that he can come on the first day of every month, and he can chop wood for us, or we can certainly find some different work for him to do. And but when he came on the first day of the month, that day also his appearance did not change, and he could barely stand on his legs, maybe because he was drunk. But still he came and he wanted to do the work. Okay, students, so now I'm proceeding with the video. We'll end it over here, video 1, and we'll carry on the chapter in the video 2. So come back and we'll start from page 64 only.